So this is the data file, or you can say it can be a SAS dataset or external or raw data. This is the input. Input is being passed to data step. What is the output? Output is a SAS dataset. Along with that, we have the descriptor. So that data step produces two outputs. One is the data, which is SAS dataset. Second output it produces is descriptor. Descriptor is nothing but metadata. So this is the data, correct? These are the column names and this is the data, correct? And what is metadata now? Metadata is, it has two variables, which is, what are the two variables? Name and age. It has two rows. Name is character. Age is numeric. So this is information about your data, right? This is the actual data and this is the information about data. Information about data is also called metadata. So metadata is information about data. Here, data step produces two output. One is the actual data. Second is the metadata. So this is the data it is reading. This is the data. This is the conversion process, what we call it manipulation. We are converting the data. This is the output. Output is descriptor, also called metadata. What is the other name for metadata? Descriptor portion. We call it as descriptor portion. Another one is the data portion. It is a SAS dataset. So it is again the same thing, data file, data step. This is the descriptor portion. Now this is the proc step. What does proc step do? It analyzes the data set and prepares the output as report. Okay. Input is SAS dataset. What dataset? Which is manipulated by data step. Or this is the output report. So what are procedures basically? Procedures are nothing but the predefined written codes to perform a certain activity. Okay. We have different procedures in SAS. Couple of them are print. As the name specifies, it is used to print the data set. What does mean do? It produces the summary statistics like mean, median, mode. Then we have the frequency. So all have different purpose. There are many procedures that we'll be studying in this course, and each procedure has a different purpose. Clear? Now let's look at a code. So data step begins with the word data. Okay. Then it is the output dataset name. So ABC is the output dataset name. Just do not try to understand the meaning of each and every word, but I'm just explaining that this is how a data step looks like. Okay. Every data step begins with the word data, and every proc step begins with the word proc. So if you see clearly, this is a text file it is reading. That means my data step is reading the data or assessing the data. Then it is producing the output is ABC is output SAS dataset. Okay. Then on this ABC dataset, this is the dataset. I am using the procedure to print it. Let me show you how this text file looks like. So this is the file we are trying to read. It is class1.txt, right? It is class 1. So it has data ID of the person. Has the name of the person. Then it has gender of the person. Then it has age of the person. Okay. So ID, name, gender, and age. Okay. So we are reading from a text file and converting it to a SAS dataset. Let me just run the code. When I run the code and check the Explorer, so in the work library, it has created ABC dataset. When I look at ABC, this is how ABC looks like. So it has created a tabular format, right? Everything is being generated. ID, under ID, then name, gender, age. Correct? So it has read notepad file and it has created a SAS dataset. ABC is a SAS dataset. Now let me just print it. When I print it, if you see the results window, this is the contents, table of contents, and this is the how output looks like. It was generated on Friday, October 8, 2017 at 17:44. Okay, this is the observation number. So in Excel, we have rows. You understand Excel, right? This is Excel. We call rows variables, right, and tables. But in SAS, we call rows as observations. We call variables as columns. Oh, sorry, here it is columns, and here it is variables. Tables is known as data set. Okay. In Excel, how many rows are there? 2 rows, right? In SAS, we call it as 2 observations. How many columns are there? 2 columns, right? Call it as 2 variables in SAS. So this is a table having 2 rows and 2 columns. As we call it as a data set. Okay, just remember these terminologies so that whenever I say observations, that means rows. When I say variables, that means columns. When I say data set, it is nothing but a table. So when I say ABC is a data set, it means there are rows and columns. There are 3 observations and 4 variables. Okay, so what I was telling you, in Excel we call rows, columns, and tables. In SAS we call rows as observations, columns as variables, and tables as data set. Okay. So by default, now we'll cover the libraries in SAS. So these are the types of files we have discussed. Now we'll cover the libraries. So we have temporary library, we have permanent library. So in libraries we store SAS datasets. Okay.
Yeah.
Temporary library is work. So by default, whenever the dataset is created, it will be created in temporary library until mentioned. Okay. There are other permanent libraries as well, which are SAS help, SAS user, or it can be anything. We'll learn about these, how to assign a permanent library. Okay. So under libraries, we have files, right? How to refer those files? For example, if so, this is how a data step look like. Data, say ABC and semicolon. So every statement, SAS statements end with a semicolon. That means it is the end of the statement. So this ABC is a output SAS data set. Okay. So this output data set is stored in work library. How to refer this? We have to work dot ABC. This is the complete name of ABC dataset. Okay, this is how you refer the dataset. But since work is temporary and by default, so SAS has made the option that yes, you need not to mention the work dot. It is optional. If you just mention ABC, it will be equivalent to work dot ABC. Okay. For example, here we have just mentioned ABC. It is equivalent to work dot ABC. Let us see that practically as well. So when I change the name of XY, change it to XYZ and run the code, we'll choose the Explorer and you can see these are the various libraries. If I go to work is the temporary library, right? It is created under XYZ. Even if I mention work dot, it will be a similar thing. Let's say I mention work dot Adams. So either I mention just Adams or I mention work dot Adams. Both are similar things. Both will create a dataset named Adam in work library. Adams is created, right? So by default the library is work. And these are the permanent libraries. Anything apart from work will be treated as permanent library. We can store our code here as well. Okay. Now we'll study how a typical SAS structure looks like. So every data step starts with a data. Then comes the output data set. Then there is a semicolon. Semicolon means end of statement. End of statement. So we have, what are the two steps in SAS? Data and proc. So these are the steps. Under steps we have statements. So in each step we have statements. Every statement ends with semicolon. Okay. So this is the first statement of a data step, which begins with the data and ends with a semicolon. Every data step ends with a run. Run is the boundary. Okay. So it begins with a data word and it ends with a run. So whatever statements are written inside it will be executed. Okay. So this, it begins with the data, then we mention the output dataset name, and run is the boundary. For example, here as well, so this is the data. This is where dataset begins. XYZ is output dataset name. Then we have another statement, then we have one more statement, and then it is the last statement of data step. It is the last statement of data step. Okay. And similar is the case with proc step. Proc step begins with proc and again ends with run. Okay. Run is the boundary of both data as well as proc step. This is the terminology that we have discussed. That yes, table is called SAS dataset, records or rows is called observation, field or column is called variable. This is the SAS terminology, and this is the terminology we will be dealing in our entire course. So whenever I say SAS dataset, that means nothing but a table. Okay. When I call a observation, that means it is nothing but the records, or you can say rows. And when I say variables, those are nothing but the columns or fields. Okay. We have discussed this slide, and we have also discussed a data step creates two outputs. So my data step is used to access and manipulate, right? After manipulating, it saves the output in data set. So it generates two outputs. One is the data portion, another one is the descriptor portion. Descriptor portion is also called metadata. This is the real data, or you can say tables, the values. Okay. Yeah. What is metadata? I will tell you in a while. So this is the descriptor portion, metadata. So if I say this is the Excel, so this is a table. Okay. This table has this data. And what is metadata of this table? It has two variables, name and age. It has two rows. Name is character, age is numeric. So this gives you information about your data, right? Yes. This is actual data, the values, and this is the metadata, information about data. That means data about data, information about data. It tells me that in your table there are two rows. In your table there are two variables, name and age, where name is character and age is numeric. This is called metadata or descriptor portion.
I'm sure you enjoyed learning from this video. Please like the video, and if you have any doubts regarding this video, please comment us in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more such informative videos. Do look out for other related videos in our playlist. For more information, visit our website now. Keep learning with Intellipaat.